Hello and welcome to World Talks. I'm Anna Galczyńska. Let's take a closer look at the German politics. A truly titanic task ahead of Friedrich Merz, the German Chancellor to be. 28% of the votes is less than the Christian Democrats expected. And after a harsh campaign, a reliable and durable coalition doesn't appear to be an easy win. That's been said, the world doesn't wait for Germany. So what approach will the new German government adopt with regards to its foreign policy? To delve on this issue, we're joined now by Noah Barkin, Senior Advisor, Rhodium Group, and Senior Fellow at the German Marshall Fund. Good evening, sir. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
So let's kick off with coalition building potential. As we know, for months, Friedrich Merz hammered the government over its policies on migration and the economy. And now we see that this strategy paid off. But hasn't Merz crossed the line while arguing that the left is over? Can you possibly imagine a coalition between Scholz and Merz?
Well, it won't be a coalition with Merz and Scholz. Scholz made very clear last night, election night, that he would not play a role in a future coalition and that he would not be involved in coalition negotiations, which are expected to start soon between Merz and Scholz's Social Democrats. So I think both parties, they've ruled together before. They know that during election campaigns, some things are said that may not be so nice. But I think they will get down to business and clinch a coalition in the coming months.
All right, so this was just a theatrum of the politics. The SPD had its worst national election result in over a century. So what were the main reasons behind this dramatic loss, according to you?
Well, I mean, the German economy has not grown in over 2 years. The economy is facing higher energy prices as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the cutoff of Russian gas. So I think the economy is a big part of this. Number two, immigration has become a bigger and bigger issue. We've had a number of attacks from Middle Eastern immigrants just in the past months. And Merz made this a big topic in his campaign. And this has also weighed on Scholz. And I think third, we've seen a lot of infighting within the outgoing government. Scholz is not seen as a strong leader. He has waffled on some of the big questions, including Ukraine. And so this has all contributed to the worst score for the SPD in its history.
Right. However, the far-right Alternative for Germany recorded double its 2021 result. So for the last months, political analysts would calm down all those anxious about the raise of AfD. They claimed that they would never raise up to pose a real threat to Germany's NATO posture and Germany's mainstream stance on European Union. However, we see the contrary. So is this raising influence to be does this influence which raises, should it raise also our concern?
Well, it's certainly concerning that the AfD, which is pro-Russian, which has criticized Ukraine, which is pro-China as well, that they have doubled their score since 2021. They came in just above 20%, still 8 points below the CDU-CSU, but this party is only 12 years old. And so this is a big surprise. Merz faces some major challenges, whether it's getting the German economy going again, whether it's investing in German defense, with the U.S. Pulling back from NATO, or at least appearing to do so. And so the big concern, I think, is what happens 4 years from now in the next election. The AfD will not be part of the government. They will be the largest party in opposition, where they've been the past 3 years. But the concern, I think, going forward is that the AfD continues to rise if the new government is not able to tackle some of these problems that Germany faces.
Particularly that has been endorsed by Elon Musk and J.D. Vance. So, as you rightly pointed out, AfD is not only a right-wing party, it's anti-Ukrainian and pro-Russian. So what part do you think has Elon Musk played in this raise in AfD's support? Do you think that he moved the German voters?
No, I don't think Elon Musk or J.D. Vance, who spoke at the Munich Security Conference earlier this month and also appeared to endorse the AfD. He met with the leader of the AfD, Alice Weidel. So it's clear that senior members of the Trump administration are actively supporting this party. Merz called this shameless election interference last night after the results came in. But I don't believe that the support of Musk, the support of Vance, gave a boost to this party. They came in roughly where the polls said they would, and it's possible that many German voters were turned off by the fact that Elon Musk and Vance were openly backing this party.
It's interesting to note also that the AfD came on top in eastern Germany, which highlights the persistent division between the East and the West. But now let's turn to what Friedrich Merz's government may be, his new approach to foreign policy and European security. So Merz has suggested a more hawkish approach to defense, including discussions on nuclear security with the UK, France. How might this reshape Germany's role within NATO and the EU?
Well, I think we're going to have to see. It's true that Merz has talked, I think, in a clearer language than the chancellor, the current chancellor, Olaf Scholz. He did that last night, talking about the U.S. and how Europe may not be able to rely on the U.S. going forward. That he raised questions about the future of NATO. He has also talked very openly about, very critically about China, lumping China, Russia, Iran, North Korea together in an axis of autocracies, as he described it. So this is much clearer language. I think the question is whether that language will translate into substantive policy differences. He, of course, will be in a coalition with the SPD. He'll be in a coalition with his Bavarian sister party, the CSU, which is very pro-business and in the past has had close ties to China and Russia. So it's not going to be easy. Obviously, with Ukraine, he has differentiated himself from Scholz in supporting the sending of Taurus cruise missiles to Ukraine. And I see just in the past 24 hours, we have politicians urging him to do this as soon as possible.
Exactly. And Friedrich Merz declared that his first visit would be to Paris and Warsaw, which we welcome, obviously, here in Poland. But how might Merz's stated desire for independence from the United States affect Polish-German relations? This is very difficult and very delicate to navigate. We hear from Friedrich Merz, step by step, it is feasible to get independent from the United States.
Yes, I mean, the first thing I think we should say is that Merz is a transatlanticist. He ran the Atlantic Brücke, which is a nonprofit focused on closer transatlantic business ties. And he led the German branch of BlackRock, the U.S. asset manager. So he has a lot of experience with the U.S. He exclaimed himself last night that he never thought he would have to say that Germany and Europe needed to become more independent from the U.S. I think we've just gone through a week or two where the Trump administration has shocked a lot of people with their position on Russia, the talks that took place in Saudi Arabia, the criticism of Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. So I think there is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to that. I'm not worried that Merz will throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think he will do everything he can to ensure that the transatlantic relationship remains intact. But what he is saying is that the behavior of the Trump administration in recent weeks has given him pause for thought and concern.
All right. And what opportunities do you see for deepened Polish-German cooperation in security and defense following the elections, but also following the latest claims by Friedrich Merz? He even went on to say that nuclear sharing could be extended to Poland.
Well, yes, I think we'll have to see. I think the first thing to say is that Merz has been very clear during the election campaign that he wants to repair strained ties with Poland, repair strained ties with France, and he sees this Weimar Triangle, as it's called, as an important, clearly he sees this as a very important forum, the Warsaw, Berlin, Paris connection for forging compromises in Europe. And I think that's one of his biggest foreign policy messages. He's been very critical of Olaf Scholz for not cultivating these relationships. Now, he's coming out with some ideas, nuclear sharing, and all that. We'll have to see how that pans out. I think we're at the very beginning of this debate. And of course, it takes two sides for this relationship to work. So I would expect that Merz and Tusk, both from the same political family, will have a better chance than many leaders to make this relationship work.
Exactly. So that was quite a bold statement from Friedrich Merz. But how might Poland position itself strategically in relation to a potentially more assertive Germany?
Well, you'll have to ask Poland experts. I'm not an expert on Poland. I would not describe it as a more assertive Germany. I think I think it was your foreign minister, Sikorski, who said maybe 10 or 12 years ago he was more afraid of a Germany that didn't act than he was afraid of a Germany that did act and show leadership in Europe. And that was during the Euro crisis. We're now in a very different sort of multifaceted crisis. I personally think that we could see, that Europe would benefit from a bit more stability and a bit more leadership in Berlin. But of course, any German leader is not going to ride roughshod over other European capitals. And I think Merz has made very clear he wants to work very closely with Tusk, work very closely with people like Macron in Paris, and forge a European consensus.
Noah Barkin, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and expertise here on TVP World. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned to TVP World for more comments and more news.